Welcome to Layin the Body podcast. I'm Terrence.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're the place to be for head rushing shots of hockey. We're back after another 2-week hiatus.
Because somebody had COVID.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got bit with the bug. And, I had to quarantine for a little bit. But you know what? Everything's all good. And, we're back for now. Hopefully, this is what we say every week. I'm knocking on the wood table that we're on right now. Hopefully, we'll be back next week for your weekly dose of hockey, but usually we don't miss a lot when we're...
Yeah, well, in this case, we did miss a good amount. It was trade deadline. Trade deadline actually is tomorrow at noon, correct?
Yeah,
so
noon is 3 o'clock's the deadline.
Okay, well, we're recording this at noon on Sunday, so guess what?
Sunday, April 11th.
So you're going to give it a day. You got 24 hours to make a trade. A bunch have happened so far, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. We're just going to touch over the standings, and then current standings, I'm going to update you on that, what teams are hot, what teams are cold and falling out of a spot, and then we're going to get over some big trades that have happened, and then we're going to get into the trades that we foresee happening within the next 24 hours. So, yes. Terrence, if you want to start us off.
So, what happened in the league is we're just going to go over the divisions, and we're going to quickly just, run over that, because we're not going to go over the scores today, as it's been 2 weeks, and things have been pretty similar on the points front for each team. You have Connor McDavid with 69 points in 40-something games.
Yeah, disgusting.
The point standings are the same. We're just going to go through the standings, and we're just going to do a little rundown. Toronto at 1 in the Scotia North.
Dude, they've been 9-0-1 in their past 10. This is nothing new. They've And if anything, then if you want to keep looking at it, Winnipeg at 53 and Edmonton at 52. They've kind of pulled away from the fourth place Montreal of 43.
Montreal kind of really fell off. They're on a 3-game losing streak right now, and
they pulled it together though. You remember they were literally 1 point ahead of the fifth place at one point. Now they're 6 points with 3 games in hand. So, listen, I know they're in a little bit of a rough patch. They're struggling. They did fantastic in the first half of the season. They were top of the league at one point.
To be fair, the last 3 games that they've been playing were against Winnipeg and Toronto.
Well, that's a problem because you're going to be facing one of them in the first round. So
yes,
so it is what it is.
They're going to have to figure out something. They just traded for Eric Staal, which we did touch on in the last podcast,
and we'll get into it because there's a bunch of trades outside of the Eric Staal one where chemistry has to be found in order.
Cole Caulfield just got signed, so maybe he can join this team if
they make a playoff run. I think he's going to join the dude. He's been tearing it up in the CHL. This kid literally,
if they want a little spark,
he's been doing great, and Hobie Baker winner. Kid's going to be a stud when he's fully in with the team, but you might see him this year.
Yeah, and I think those 4 teams are going to be those playoff guys. We're going to talk about which one of these trades I feel could land a top guy, or which one actually has landed top guy. So, bottom 3 teams, I'm going to touch on briefly. Calgary,
they're in a rebuild.
They're done. They're going to have to shop everyone. A little dark horse that maybe could go at the deadline if they decide to. I'm not sure. They're kind of in a playoff spot still. Maybe a Johnny Gaudreau could be shopped.
Yeah,
there's been trade rumors around him for a little.
That's a big trade, though. Whoever's going to make that trade, it's going to have to be a massive package.
It's bold, but this team, I feel just needs to. They're 2-8-0 in their last 10. They're awful right now, and I don't know what they're going to do. And yeah, that's all I got to say.
And then moving on,
overhaul. Vancouver hasn't played in a year.
But they are, according to Bettman, finishing their 56-game season. They're just going to have to play 19 games in 31 days. So, good luck.
Be tired.
Good luck, Quinn Hughes. Then to the dumpster fire once again. Not the true dumpster fire this year. We're going to get to the real dumpster fire in a little bit.
They've been decent. Ottawa's been decent. I mean,
they have a very bright future. I love their core, their young core with Stützle, Tkachuk,
and
Shabbat.
They're very good against Toronto. They lost by 1 goal against Toronto last night.
They made it a game late. It was 5-4, and then they made it a game, and then they blew it in the final minute. But it is what it is. They'll be good in a few years, but it was a slow rebuild.
It was 5-4. And then they scored an empty netter, and then they scored after the empty netter.
Doesn't matter. That's just classic Ottawa. Either way.
Give them hope and then take it away. Classic Islanders, too. We'll get to that.
Moving on, Honda West Division.
Colorado has turned it on.
So a few things have actually changed in this division. Mm-hmm. If you look at it, so like you were saying though, Colorado has turned it on.
Colorado is the number 1 team right now in the league.
Vegas has slowed it down a bit. They're still good. Don't get me wrong, and they're still hot.
Yeah, they're still
but
hot.
5-4-1 in their past 10.
Colorado though is the hottest
games.
team. Colorado and Toronto are the hottest teams in the league right now, and it's ridiculous what this team's doing. Their goal differential is so much higher than everyone else's at a plus 47.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But you know what? Vegas is at plus 35, not too far outside of that. They're sitting 4 points back of the Avalanche.
With a game at hand.
Yeah. And then, hey, this is where it gets interesting. So Minnesota's turned it on. Minnesota is, yes, they're 5-3-2 in their past 10. They have 51 points. So they're sitting pretty in third. But then you look at this. St. Louis has fallen off a cliff, man. They are 44 points in fourth. And Arizona is 1 point back of them for that fourth spot. And you know what?
St. Louis has won 3 in a row, though, at this point.
The fact that I'm even... These words are about to come out of my mouth. The fact that the San Jose Sharks have a game in hand on St. Louis and Arizona and are 4 points out of a playoff spot. Do you think that they can be a dark horse and somehow just...
Look, if any team...
Screw it up.
Like, you could even say the Kings, if they get hot, they could make the playoffs. They're only 6 points
Listen,
behind.
Arizona, San Jose, and Los Angeles, they're not out of it. If St. Louis does not make a trade at the deadline, if they do not change something up, which we're going to get to in a bit, because there's a lot of rumors surrounding that team and a bunch of their stars, I don't see them holding on. I really don't.
But they've won 3 in a row. If they stay hot,
hey, listen, I would love to see a last-minute pullout of Arizona or San Jose or even the Kings making it. I would love to see it.
Why would they try to make a trade for a top guy if there's no guarantee that they're going to make the playoffs, if they're going to give up top draft capital for it?
I don't think it's going to be... We'll get into that in a little bit. I don't think it's going to be top draft capital. I think it's going to be...
First of all, Arizona doesn't have the top draft capital to do it.
I'm not talking about Arizona. I'm talking about St. Louis needs to make one if they want to stay where they are.
Oh, yeah.
St. Louis has no choice. So. They have been their offense has been god-awful.
We'll get into that.
Some games they're scoring 2 goals and getting blown out 8-2 by the freaking Coyotes or the Sharks, or other games they're, it's a 6-5 game. They're not a complete hockey game.
And the bottom, Anaheim, they just don't got it. No, but I love their young core. I love their core.
Zegers, Gibson, and the rest of them. Look,
Drysdale.
Getzlaf's going to go. They're going to do a huge revamp, even though this is not a high draft.
We'll get to Getzlaf in a little bit to see if he's going anywhere, but
I don't think so. But
Discover Central. I love Carolina. Carolina is the top. I've always liked their team and how they were built, and it's just like they've been on a tear. 7-2-1 in their last 10, and they've been a team that no one's really been talking about, but they've been solid the whole entire year. They've been like not putting up big losses. They've been putting up great points. They've just been a great team all around the whole year. No ups, no really downs for this team. They just kept going up, and now they're at the top. They're even above Tampa with a game in hand. Yeah, well, they got the same amount of points as Tampa with a game in hand.
And then you got Florida sitting at 56, not too far out of there.
They're 2 points behind both Tampa and Carolina.
Those top 3 are going to be something to be messed with, because again, all 3 of those could be the number 1 seed.
2 of them made trades just recently, which we'll
get into it in a bit.
We'll get into it.
Nashville. This is where this becomes fun. So Chicago had the 4th spot, pretty locked up for a while. They have fallen off a cliff.
They've fallen off, and Nashville turned it on. 8-2-0. Nashville's been 8-2-0 in their last 10.
So where they originally were going to be the ones as sellers at the deadline, now they become buyers.
Yeah, look.
I don't think they can do a big buy because I don't know where this team stands.
I'm not even sure if it's a buy either.
But I don't think that they're true sellers anymore.
I don't think they're sellers either. If you're in a playoff spot, what do you tell your fans if you sell? So it's like
that we don't care. We know we're going to get a first-round exit to the Hurricanes.
Yeah, so it's Florida. So I think, look, I wasn't a big, even when Matthias Ekholm was on the block for a little bit, I didn't think it was smart for anyone to trade for Matthias Ekholm, as the Kraken was coming in, then you would have to go protect them. So it's I think Nashville I don't think they're really buyers. I think that they're just going to stay put. But we're going to get into it in a little bit on what else I think. Chicago's fallen off. They've also made a trade. So So we'll go into that and how they're trying to stay in.
Dallas, I just don't see doing it. That's just me. I get that they're 5 points out. I just don't see it.
Dallas just like...
And Columbus at this point, honestly, might finish below the Red Wings. I don't think
they've made some trades.
Well, I don't really think we need to go farther in depth. Yeah. This is a race for last place in that division. But yeah, so we're getting into the arguably one of the better divisions.
Mass Mutual East. We got Washington at the top,
tied with the Islanders
with 56. Both teams have been doing pretty well.
6-4 for the Caps, 7-3 for the Isles. Islanders doing well on their homestand.
Made a big trade.
Yeah, so
probably the biggest trade.
It is the biggest trade of the deadline so far.
So we'll get into that.
That was expected. Pittsburgh sitting 2 points back of the two of them, 54. Boston, which they've fallen off a bit. And I'm gonna give it dark horse in a little bit.
I think Boston is gonna make a big trade at
the top three are making the playoffs. Boston scares me about missing the playoffs. If I gotta give you a team, Philly is sitting.
Done. The Rangers.
Listen, Philly is sitting 4 points back of Boston.
The Rangers are
Philly is garbage. They're not doing anything.
6-3-1 in their last 10.
The Rangers have turned it on. Rangers are 5 points out of Boston. The Rangers play the Boston Bruins the last 2 games of the year. I said it to my friends who are Ranger fans. If the Rangers can find a way to get within 3 or 4 points of the Bruins heading into the final 2 games of the season, or even closer, it's 2-game series, win or go home. And it's simple as that. I think the Rangers can make a playoff run. Now, I'm not saying a deep playoff run, but I'm saying I think they can make a push for the playoffs and somehow take over the Bruins. I think Philly's done. I don't care what the standings show. Philly's hot ass, and and New Jersey's sitting at the bottom with 34, and the Buffalo Sabres, everybody, 24 points. Yeah. They have more losses than they have points.
No, but the last 10, it's better. They're 3-5-2.
But they still have... You know what? And Ranger fans, screw you. I gotta say it. The fact that out of the 9 wins for Buffalo, 3 of those have come against the Rangers. I just had to put that in there. Because why not?
Yeah, and Philly lost to them.
Yeah, but the Rangers. Don't like them. But yeah, so that's going to be your updated standings. We're going to hop into... we gave you our dark horses. We're going to hop into... I would say we're going to get into the trades, then we'll get into some trade rumors and some predictions of some stuff. So, Terrence, if you want to start with the biggest one.
We're going to start off with, we're going to go in order here. We're going to start off with the trade that happened on April 7th. The New York Islanders made the first big splash out of nowhere, really, as you would see the insiders really putting together, you would see the insiders making a build-up to the trade. This trade came out of nowhere. It just happened. Lou Lamoriello just kept it quiet, and he made a big splash. One of the biggest fishes on the market. Kyle Palmieri got it. And also with Kyle Palmieri is a Smithtown native here on Long Island.
Guess what?
Not just with that, Travis Zajac.
Another Long Island native.
I don't think he's Long Island native.
Yes,
really? He's a Long Island native?
Yes, he is.
Wait 1 second. Are you serious? No way.
He has a house on Long Island. I don't know if he was born here, but he doesn't live in Jersey. He lives on Long Island.
Is he?
He lives in Comac.
Okay. He is Canadian. He's Canadian.
Yes, but he lives in...
I know, he lives on Long Island.
Okay, I should have worded it better, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
With his time in New Jersey,
okay, yes.
Not Long Island born, but a native to Long Island.
Palmieri is Long Island born.
You get what my point was.
Yes,
Screw you.
Okay. Palmieri and Zajac. Zajac, good defensive forward. Palmieri, good scoring winger, good defensive forward. Just great for the Islander system. And the Islanders didn't have to give up anyone on their roster for this.
Yeah, what'd you give? You had
a 21 first rounder,
and then you give AJ
a 2022 fourth round. It's a conditional fourth rounder.
Which turns into a third if the Islanders make the cup, which at that point
cup
I
final.
don't think anybody's going to give a shit.
Yes, and Mason Jobst, prospect, and AJ Greer, another prospect. Which they've been perennial AHL guys. So, you know what? In the 2 games that we've seen Palmieri and Zajac play for the Islanders.
I don't think it's a good sample size because if you look at how the team has played overall, yes, you beat the Flyers 3-2. Flyers 3-2. Yes, but then you lost the Rangers 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I think it's a good trade for the Islanders.
It is a good trade, but
this just gives us so much more depth.
But you know what?
So much more defensive.
The salt upon it. The thing you sent me the other night. The fact that I'm just gonna kind of run through this real quick. So the Islanders did have a trade in place for Taylor Hall. No one knows what the Islanders are going to be giving up. No one knows if the Sabres are going to be giving anything else. But my thoughts would be that what Lou Lamoriello did, which is genius, but pisses me off at the same time because I would have rather Taylor Hall. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's a bad trade. I like the trade, but it was going to be Taylor Hall, and the Islanders were going to be sending their first round pick. Well, the Devils wanted that first round pick as well, just like Buffalo. So Lamoriello did not officially make the trade, but he put a trade in place for Hall. He was going to be giving the first round pick. Don't know if the Islanders are giving anything else. Don't know if Buffalo is going to be giving anything else. But that was that. Islanders then made the trade with the Devils. It was going to be Palmieri, and then for the first round pick and whatever else. And Buffalo, basically, what happened is Lou basically said to the Devils, "Listen, Hall's a better a guy for us. If you both want the first round pick, sweeten the pot, or we don't, or we go with Buffalo." And they threw in Travis Zajac, and the rest was history.
And I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like, look,
it's how you look.
We would have to pretty much give up a solid prospect, or I feel like Kiefer Bellows would have to be in there for Hall.
I think it would have just been a first at the way it started that way, and then it just went to shit.
I don't think so.
If they'd be willing to take like a Komarov contract, if we throw out a prospect and a first, at this point though, I don't feel like that a first and a prospect is worth Taylor Hall. If it was that, then I'm happy that
I feel like this trade works better for our team though.
It works better for our team, but overall, on paper it works better for the team because it fills multiple holes. Until Wahlstrom is back and takes goddamn Leo Komarov off the first line, when Wally is back, the trade is perfect because you fill the holes you then fill Lee's spot with Wahlstrom on the first line, and then you fill the third line, which was just Pajot, and was Dal Cole for a while, but Dal Cole is injured, so you fill it with the two Devils. Yeah. It is a perfect trade. It works out when Wally's back and everyone's healthy except for Lee. It's just the production has to be there. They're going to have to be able to form the chemistry with the Islanders. It'll come in due time.
Yeah, I think it will. And trade. I don't think they've played bad in their 2 games. They don't have any points. To be honest, but I've seen them make some good defensive plays.
I've also seen some
they're
errors,
good
though.
Back check. There's some good.
But that's what happens when you're with a new team. I'm not going to get on their ass.
To be honest, from those two games that they played, they had only 2 days of practice.
You want a bold prediction from me? I'll just play the Rangers tonight. I'm going to be there. There will be a point recorded.
For one of these players?
I'm going to say Palmieri gets a goal. Saying, better yet, I'll give it better. Palmieri gets his first New York Islanders goal.
Okay. That's what we like to see, but a good trade. I've seen a consensus Islanders trade win here.
Yeah, for the most part. Let me say this: for the people that say that the Devils got fleeced, no, they didn't. Just stop. It's a fair trade. It goes both ways. Both Palmieri and Zajac were UFAs in the offseason, and they
got a first round pick for it.
And even though it's going to be probably a bottom 8 first round pick this year. Guess
first round pick's a first round pick.
First round pick.
This is not a very top heavy, but it's a deep draft.
Yes, it's not a top heavy draft, but it being deep, you can also just use that pick as another trade bait. You can send this pick and a second round pick next year to move to like the 14th, and boom, you have your own pick, which is going to be a top 10 pick, probably a top 5 pick, hopefully depending on the lottery. And guess what?
Look, if the Islanders make the Cup final, you can give up this third for that.
And guess what? It works both ways. The two of them wanted to win a cup. Came to the Islanders. Even Fitzgerald said, I hope that pick is the 32nd pick.
Yes.
So these two good men can win a cup. And guess what? The Devils, if you want to re-sign them in the offseason, you can re-sign either of them in the offseason because you could have done that anyway. It's a loan deal. That's how I look at it. It's like a soccer. Like, you're loaning your 2 players there. You're getting something permanent in return. And if you want to re-sign them at the end of the year, you can do so.
Yes.
Good trade for both teams.
I feel like this is a good trade. I feel like the Islanders did win, as we didn't have to give up anything.
They win in the moment, but overall very fair. Mm-hmm. But moving on from that, because we could talk about that all day. The Blackhawks and the Panthers made a trade.
This is on, April 8th, the next day, they made a trade. The Blackhawks, again, like we said, looking outside of the playoff picture right now at the moment, but not by a lot.
But a good trade for them.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like they usually need more depth scoring,
which
they got.
What they got.
They got forward Brett Connolly, who has been very.
He's solid.
He's solid.
He's a solid two-way player.
He's a solid depth guy that could put up some decent numbers. So I'm gonna bring up his numbers right here and what he actually has. on the season. But he is a good depth guy. He's a very good depth guy. He's a guy that can put up a good goal when needed. He was on that. Well, I don't remember if he was on Washington. I don't remember if he was on the Washington team when he was playing there, but yes, he was. Yes, he was. He was on the Washington Stanley Cup team, putting up 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 goals.
And
so
is that bad?
I was correct.
No. That's what Matt Martin did last year for the Islanders.
Yeah, this
put up
year
5 goals and stopped the scoring. He's not
this year, like
top 6
over the past few years. I'm going to say with Washington and then last year with Florida, he put up 15, 22, and 19 goals. That's solid. That's a solid depth guy.
For a third-line player.
Yeah.
That's solid.
This year, he's very underwhelming. Only played 21 games this year. 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. Very underwhelming. But, like, he still has that pedigree. The Islanders were in for him a little bit.
Again,
for
just like
scorer.
the Ajax Palmieri trade, both of them are having relatively down years, but in a new setting, in a playoff run, it can work. Mm-hmm. It can work. So, great trade overall.
They got Riley Stillman. The Chicago got Riley Stillman, who's a decent D prospect.
That's really just for depth.
And this one intrigues me a lot. Henrik Borgstrom. This guy I've been looking at for a quick minute now, and this guy is very, very underrated. I think he is a very good player. He's someone, he's very young. He's 23, and he is someone that he's 6'3", 198, very good player. And look, in the AHL last year, he put up 5 goals, 17 assists, 22 points. Very good in 24 games. In Florida, he played 50 games, put up 8 goals, 10 assists for 18 points, minus 14. Wasn't the best, but he's a rookie.
But again, he's a rookie playing on the bottom 6.
In the University of Denver, in 2017-18, he put up 23 goals, 29 assists for 52 points in 40 games.
Yeah, the dude has a lot of talent.
He has a lot of talent, and I feel like this year he played 4 NHL games. He played in Finland this year in the Liga. He hasn't played anything for the Panthers. He has 29 games, 11 goals, 8 assists, 19 points. And in the Liga, the usually younger players don't usually put up that many points as it's a men's league there. So 29, 19, that's pretty good for him. And he's someone in this trade where I feel like this could be a very lopsided trade if he turns out to be
100%.
a highly touted prospect. As he went pretty high. He went 23 in 2016, the 23rd overall pick.
Which was a very stacked class.
Yes.
But on top of that, Blackhawks also receive a 7th-round pick in 2021, which is what it is, just the depth pick that they could trade.
But then for Florida got Lucas Carlson.
Which is huge because Aaron Ekblad's out for the season. Is going to be good depth for them. And Lucas Walmart,
they just made another trade, which we'll get to it in a second.
So really, this was a very depth trade for both teams in a push.
Lucas Carlson is a decent defensive prospect.
Again, with
with Lucas Walmart, who went pretty much for Brett Connolly. I feel like Lucas Walmart is a very good two-way guy who can get it done, get some points on the board. Do I think he's better than Brett Connolly? No, even though the stats could say otherwise. I think Lucas Carlson is a decent D-man prospect, and Walmart can produce in the absence of Brett Connolly. But yeah, that's what we have to do.
So I'm going to quickly rattle off the next two, which are depth trades. Just is what it is. The Maple Leafs are receiving Riley Nash and the Columbus Blue Jackets in return for a 2022 7th-round pick. This is all depth.
That's all depth. But I really like Riley Nash.
I like Riley Nash a lot. He's
Riley Nash is a very good depth guy.
Again, but
who plays the game right, plays that Islander style.
I also don't think this is the last trade that the Maple Leafs are going to be making. I'm sure you see one in the next 24. But hopping on to the next one, Colorado Avalanche are going to be receiving defenseman Patrick Nemeth. In return, the Red Wings will be receiving a 2022 4th-round pick.
A team that really is just like bolstering their team at the moment. They're a Stanley Cup contender. They know that. They didn't produce in the playoffs last year like they would like to.
I mean, yeah.
And now they got Patrick Nemeth to help out that D-core just in case for any injuries, because that young D-core is stacked. But they have had some injuries to the D-core. Bowen Byram got injured.
Even Cale McCarr got injured.
Cale McCarr got injured for a little bit, and they need some help. Patrick Nemeth's a good depth piece.
Again,
He's very
both of
solid in
these
his
trades
defensive
being
end.
very depth.
He's also been on the Colorado Avalanche before. A little familiarity right there. So, pretty good trade right there
And
for the Avalanche.
So this next trade, I feel like Buffalo could have gotten a little more.
I've always liked this guy.
I'm a huge fan of Brandon Montour, who is now going to the Florida Panthers, who you would imagine is going to be the replacement for Aaron Ekblad for the rest of the year.
Yes, and
I think he could have gotten more for them.
As much as
because they got a third round pick.
As much there are other better players than Brandon Montour that you could
solid defenseman.
Look, when Aaron Ekblad went down, that's a big hit for the Florida Panthers. You are never going to replace an Aaron Ekblad and what he was doing this season.
But you can do the most to try, and Brandon Montour is a pretty damn good start. Look, he's a solid player.
Brandon Montour, I've liked so much. I loved him in Anaheim when he was in Anaheim. He did very good in Anaheim. He got traded to Buffalo, did pretty decent in Buffalo when he was playing. It's just like, of course, everyone on the Buffalo, like even this year, minus 13, even though, but he has 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points in 38 games. He's a very good, decent offensive defenseman. Good in his own end, decently. Could be better. But look, Brandon Montour's a very solid
D-man. You also got to look at
D-man.
the system he was just playing in. He was playing in the dumpster fire, and now he's going to be playing
the year
in a very
before,
strong
Buffalo
system.
The year before, Buffalo wasn't the greatest team. He was a plus 13 in 54 games, 5 goals, 13
but he had
assists,
something to work
and
with
18
then.
points.
There's a difference.
Yes. And he has been very solid. Very, very solid for this team. And I've always been a big fan of Brandon Montour and his stats and his him as a person and as a player. And I really like what he's been doing, and he's going to add greatly to this team. Next though, we're gonna Colorado Avalanche making another depth trade. This has been Colorado's Achilles heel.
The goaltending every year they get, dude. Last year with Grubauer going down.
Grubauer has been lights out Vezina candidate this year.
Yeah, again.
But everyone knows if he gets injured, Francois has been injured. No one knows when he's coming back. So they can't have Miska. They can't have Miska as their backup.
I know.
How hasn't been good. Now they just got
solid.
a veteran from Colorado, from San Jose, sorry, in exchange for a fifth round pick, Greg Pattern. Devin Dubnyk. Now, Dubnyk hasn't had the best year this year, but look, he's been trying to play not really starter, but platoon with
Martin Jones.
With Martin Jones the whole year. But look, so this year not very good. 17 games, 3.18 goals against, an .898 save percentage. Not that good. Even the year before, he had an .890 save percentage. But if you look at his year before these 2 years with Minnesota, he's been solid. He's been a solid starter for this team. Has been battling some family related issues and health issues like that. And it's good to see him back and doing, not really, but it's good to see him back. But it's this team needs a backup goalie, and it's Colorado who needs, I feel like Devin Dubnyk is more suited for a backup role, as he's a good veteran, good guy, and he's going to be great for this Colorado team if they need anyone, as he's been a former starter too, and he's good insurance. San Jose got a fifth, and Greg Pattern D-man, who's been decent, but it's more for the pick. That's all they can really get from. Great trade for Colorado. Great trade for San Jose.
So, final trades of what's happened so far. You got 3 left, which is a 3-team
three-way trade.
I'm gonna go through this quick and try and make the most sense of it. So,
pretty much
started off.
David Savard.
David Savard went to the Red Wings in return for Brian Lashoff who's going to the Blue Jackets. Okay, nothing huge is what it is.
This one,
then the third team. Tampa gets David Savard, and the Red Wings get a 4th round pick in 2021. What they then do with that is the Lightning signed David Savard to a 3-year deal. And then the third piece of the trade, Tampa gets Brian Lashoff, depth defenseman for them, and Columbus receives a 2022 3rd-round pick and a 2021 1st-round pick. Again, that's not just for Brian Lashoff. It's for really David Savard.
Savard.
They threw the Red Wings in there. So the Red
David
Wings
Savard, yeah. So pretty much the Red Wings role in here.
Yeah, the Red Wings got a 4th-round pick.
Red Wings got a 4th-round pick, and they also did with their extra cap space, as Tampa wouldn't be able to hold on to Savard, and Columbus did not want to retain any salary. So the Red Wings retained. I forgot how
50,
much.
it was 50%.
It was 50%.
Yeah, 50%.
Yeah. So the Red Wings retained 50% of David Savard's contract, which allowed for Tampa to be able to hold on. Tampa to be able to acquire him.
Yeah. So
then David Savard went to the Red Wings.
I'm just gonna
Red Wings traded the less cap hit David Savard to Tampa.
I'm gonna kind of make sense of this for everybody, like of just what each team got. So the Red Wings retained 50% of David Savard's contract, and they get the fourth round pick. The Columbus Blue Jackets got a first in 2021 and a third in 2022. And
was there any conditions on that?
No. And the Lightning are going to get Brian Lashoff, depth defenseman, and David Savard, who's now signed with a 3-year contract.
I've always loved David Savard.
I think that was a good trade for everyone.
But David Savard has been a solid piece on this team, and on the Blue Jackets team and on the blue line. He's been very solid, and the fact that Columbus got a first out of it is very, very good. Now for Tampa, it's pretty much a second. But look, like they gave up a first and a third. That's good capital for the Blue Jackets, who are looking to kind of retool.
And for the Lightning, who get depth defenseman and David Savard, who helps a lot.
Yeah, they're going to make another big playoff run.
Well, they're looking to repeat. So
yeah, they're stacked.
But yeah, so that's the 3-team trade. Islanders one definitely being the biggest, but that was a pretty nice trade in there as well. So as we're winding down at the end of this episode,
we're going to look into some trade bait right now.
Yeah, we're going to touch on trade bait, but then I'm going to ask you a question. So briefly, quickly, just go over who's left. Give me the top 5 left on the market in your eyes.
Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
Where do you think he's going?
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do it that way. Taylor Hall. I honestly can't tell you. I'm going to say he's going to end up in Edmonton.
I think I think that's a bold prediction too. I think Edmonton is a dark horse for that. I wouldn't count out Edmonton.
And then I see Mike Hoffman going to, which is the next one there. I see Mike Hoffman going to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes, and I feel like that would be a great fit for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Although I feel like one of these two guys, either Hull or Hoffman, one of them is going to Boston. I feel like Boston is going to get one of these two, as they need that depth scoring, and Hull and Hoffman are going to be very, very great pickups for one of these teams. And I think Hull's going to Boston. I think that's going to be my bold prediction.
What do you think is getting sent in return?
I think you're going to get a first, and I think maybe like a prospect. Like they got some good guys like Jack Stanika down there. They got some good, they got Trent Frederick who could maybe trade for him, but look, I think Taylor Hall, bold prediction, going to Boston. Now, Mike Hoffman could be going to Toronto. I could see that. Mike Hoffman could be going to, let's see. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to Pitt. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to Washington. I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina, who's been noticed to do that, made some big trade for Mike Hoffman, add some more depth scoring. He's only on a $4 million cap hit. Very affordable. More affordable than Taylor Hall, which they're going to have to be retained salary in there. So I feel like Mike Hoffman, 36 games played, 9 goals, 21 points. We've seen worse. So he's very solid. I do like myself a Mike Hoffman. And to be honest, hopefully maybe the Islanders can maybe make a trade for him. Yeah. I would like that.
So, real quick.
Next person on the trade bait, Nick Foligno. I mean, I would have seen him going to the Islanders before the Palmieri trade. I think he would work perfectly with the Islanders, but although other teams would be, let me think. It would, again, all the top teams really looking for depth.
Boston,
Carolina, Tampa, all these teams. But yeah, so Iafallo's going to be right there. Iafallo with who's on who's like a good two-way guy there for LA. LA is very
he was linked to the Islanders for a while. I guess that kind of fell through.
But I feel like he's a good depth guy. And then there's a bunch of other guys like Glendening, Granlund, Alexiak, and a bunch of teams want good capital for the goaltending market, like Bernier, there's Bernier, there's Riddick, there's a bunch of teams that could use some more goaltending because of lack of it at the moment, like Chris Tregear, who is on Florida, who could be shipped very soon as he's coming up, and he could be taken by the Kraken, so they might as well get something for them.
No, very true. So what I'm going to say to you is this. I've gone over the trade bait and the trades so far. Give me a dark horse. Just give me one dark horse team and a trade that they're going to make in the next 24 hours. Let me go.
In the next 24... Oh, okay. I think Taylor Hall to Boston, like I said before. I think that's my dark horse. Taylor Hall is hands down the biggest fish on the market, and he is someone that I could see him. He's already quarantining to go cross division, and he can go to so many other teams. He can go to so many other teams as he's quarantining early to be prepared to go into another division.
Yep. So
now,
that's odd.
I could see him going to. I could see him going to Boston. I could see him going to Edmonton. I could see him going to probably Pitt or Washington. I could see him going to the Islanders still, Florida, Vegas, like any of the top teams. I feel like Toronto was a big one that he's been linked to.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, Boston making a big push for the playoffs, they're going to go get Taylor.
The next 24 hours is for sure to be crazy. So, Terrence, on top of that, let me hear it. Let me hear your power rankings for the week. Honestly, give me your power rankings overall. Just right now.
Overall, like throughout the whole season after the week?
Just where, give me the week, I guess. That's fine.
Alright. If I'm doing the week, I'm going Toronto 1.
No question.
Top of the league. I mean, they're 9-1 their last 10. Can't deny Toronto and what they've been doing. Next is Colorado. Colorado's been very solid. Colorado is just a high-scoring, high-powered machine. A very good team at the moment. The next one I'm going to go with is Tampa Bay. I do like myself some Tampa Bay, as they haven't been like super hot as of late, but they're still Tampa Bay. They deserve to be a top. Carolina's next. It seems like I'm going down the standings. I'm trying not to, but like these teams have just been so hot as of recent. It's just like I'll give some honorable mentions nearing the end, but Carolina, self-explanatory. Number 5, I'm going to go with the Islanders, even though they just lost. They were off a 4-game winning streak. Been very solid. And yes, they just they're creeping up for that top spot. Again, honorable mentions for Winnipeg, who's been on a good streak recently of 3. We've seen a bunch of other teams like Florida. Florida's on a 3-game losing streak, who's fallen off a little bit. That's why they're trying to make that trade. A bunch of other ones. But
okay,
yeah.
So I'm gonna go a very different route than you. You were saying for the week. I highly disagree with a lot of that. If we're going off of the week, number 1, Toronto 9-1, fine. Number 2 is Colorado, fine, 7-1-2. Islanders is 4. They've been 7-3. I'm gonna go on a very different route.
4?
As my 4th.
You said 2 teams before that.
No, I said Toronto, Colorado. Oh, I'm stupid. Toronto's 1. Colorado's 2. I'm gonna go Islanders 3. They've been really hot. I'm gonna give Carolina 4.
That's not very different.
No, I'm gonna go very different with the 5th one though.
Yeah, the 5th one you can go.
Actually, you know what? Scrap that. Scrap the Islanders. Toronto, Colorado, Carolina, Nashville Rangers.
Nashville Rangers.
I went a very different route with those last 2, and yeah, obviously I know.
You know what?
Honorable mention. I know you can give.
I think Nashville,
Winnipeg, the Islanders, fine. But I'm looking at the teams that are hot this week. The Rangers have been freaking hot as shit, and Nashville's 8-2, and they're bouncing in a playoff spot.
I think Nashville. Yeah, you're right. Edmonton also been a good team.
No, don't get me wrong. There's been a lot of. This past week has been very divided. You can tell who's hot and who's not. But
it's going to be very interesting to see how these next 24 hours go.
And we'll be updating on our Instagram, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. If I don't get COVID again.
All right, but I think that's going to do it for this episode.
Anything else to say?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I give my dark horse. I think we're good.
So thank you guys for listening. Sorry for taking another 2-week hiatus. It was it's very unfortunate what's been happening. Just things haven't been working out. We're going to try again. We're going to try and get here next week, give you weekly dosing, hopefully a recap of the trade deadline and what's been going on in the week and how the trade acquisitions have been doing for each team. But right now we're very excited for what's going to be going on, and we're going to keep everyone updated, hopefully on our Instagram page, and we're going to do all this, and we're going to talk about everything on the next podcast. And yeah, we thank you guys for listening and tuning in. We're going to try and get you guys one next week. And I'm Terrence.
And I'm Lucas.
And we'll see you in the next one. Sayonara.